I know. Yes. See, Britt has one too, so.
Okay, is everybody ready? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia City Council meeting. We are live from the Iron Trail Motors Event Center for our first council meeting in room number 4. I will call this meeting to order. Today's date is Tuesday, September 28th, 2021. The time is 5:30 p.m. Pam, would you please take the roll call?
Present.
Friedli,
Present.
Paulson. Present. Cuffey,
Present.
Beyondich. Present. Johnson.
Here.
Manzelli.
Here.
Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 4 on the agenda, was a public forum. Does anybody in the audience like to speak before the council this evening? Seeing none, we'll move to item 5, which is the consent agenda. The following items will be enacted by one motion unless a councilor or a citizen of the city of Virginia requests that the item be considered separately. Item 5.1 is the approval and corrections of the minutes of the regular meeting held on September 14th, 2021, the special meeting that was held on September 14th, 2021, and the public hearing that was held on September 14th, 2021. Item 5.2 is the adoption of Finance Resolution number 21-018 of the Schedule of Bills. Item 5.3, approve the transient merchant's license for Jacob Homer doing business as Costco Wholesale. Item 5.4, approve the sale of a 1988 marine boat and motor for the fire department. Item 5.5, approve the Independent School District number 2909, the Rochford School Homecoming Parade Route on October 8th, 2021. Item 5.6, approve the travel request for Christina Nicola to attend the Department of Labor and Industry course October 24th through the 29th, 2021 in St. Paul at a cost of $500.04. Item 5.7, approve pay estimate number 1 for Masaba Bituminous for the Silver Lake Trail improvements in the amount of $28,745. Item 5.8, approve pay estimate number 5 to Casper Construction for the 2021 street improvement project in the amount of $791,273.25. And finally, item 5.9, approve the transient merchant license for Donna Walls doing business as Barb's Fry Bread. These are the items on the consent agenda looking for council action.
Oh, the consent agenda.
Councilor Johnson moves to approve the consent
All
agenda.
support.
And support by Councilor Bearable. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, appearances. We have no one scheduled to be before the council meeting this evening, so move to item 7, unfinished business. 3 items under this title. First is item 7.1, is the 2020 budget. Do we have an update on the 2020 budget? I know it's in work in progress. And
That should say 2022 budget.
I'm sorry, the 2022 budget. My error. The 2022 budget.
No, no further updates.
No further updates yet, but now continue to stay on our unfinished business until we approve the 2020 budget, 2022 budget. Item 7.2 is the sale of the hospital. Brian, our city attorney, do we have an update?
Thank you, Mayor. The most recent update is that there is an appraisal back. The appraisal came out favorably for us getting the transaction complete, and we've just got to clear that final hurdle of getting the release of the encumbrance from the state of Minnesota.
Okay, thank you, and we're looking forward to that coming in the near future.
It should be in the near future, yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, item 7.3 is a rental code ordinance. I know that we've had an opportunity at the committee of the whole meeting to review the drafted copy of the rental code ordinance. I know we've discussed it at length with respect to some of the changes we'd like to make. All the councilors here present had the opportunity to review the rental code ordinance, which is quite extensive, and have the opportunity to address those issues redline things, make comments and suggestions, and return them to city staff for inclusion into the draft number 2 for a discussion at a future meeting. Does any councilor have any questions, comments regarding this rental code ordinance at this time? Brian, John Sullivan, our planning director. John?
Thank you, Mayor. I did get a little bit more feedback. I took notes from the committee of the whole meeting, from all the counselors on some of the things you want to see. And I need to work some of that stuff out with our attorney, Brian Lindsay. I did get some more feedback. Some people had tuned in and at our last meeting, Northern Lights survey. So I just got that today. So I need to kind of still process this and go over with it. And then one of our planning commission members also sent me an email regarding this. So information's coming in, so give me a little bit more time to process this and work with Brian and move forward. But yeah, the survey folks all chimed in on us, the GPS discussion that was going on, and so we need to talk about that a little bit more, our survey requirements, because yeah, we just need to work that out. So thank you.
Thank you, John. And I know that the Planning and Zoning Committee, the commission has been working diligently on this along with yourself, and it resulted in the draft. And so we look forward to some additional information moving forward. Thank you, John. I'll move to item 8, which is discussion items. Item 8.1 is approve the licensing agreement with St. Louis County to conduct COVID-19 testing and immunizations clinics at the Iron Trail Motors Event Center. So looking probably for a motion to approve that, and then for discussion. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Will this be this is a similar agreement to the one we had in the Hill building, correct?
Correct.
So I would move approval at this time.
Thank you. Councilor Johnson moves to approve. Is there support? Support by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. This is on. Under the, what's in our packet under 8.1, the first whereas, the governor of the state of Minnesota has declared a peacetime emergency in response to an outbreak of the infectious disease known as COVID-19, and then it continues on to the next and following whereas in the document. We are no longer in a peacetime emergency, so I'm not sure why that language is in there, and until that language is changed, I will not move to approve that. Thank you. Or
Okay.
I will not support that motion, I'm sorry.
All right, thank you. There's part of the resolution which is inaccurate with respect to that, and there is no emergency order by the governor, and so that has to be stricken. So we have an opportunity either to approve with changes and removing that language, or we can table it for another day. Councilor Johnson.
That's going to be my question. Is this a time sensitive that has to be done before the next council meeting?
September 28th,
September 28th?
the date in the term was.
That's today.
So they're looking for it, yeah.
I guess I would have to agree with Councilor Paulson that it is not accurate with that. I missed that. But I
I don't think they have a problem with it, taking it out. I can email them tomorrow if that's okay and get it taken care of. They sent the document to Brian, I believe. So,
Brian, have you got a chance to look at everything except for
no,
that?
Brian.
Oh, Brian, Mr. Silver. Okay. I think we would have, I would have to agree with Councilor Paulson that we should wait until in case it needs to say something else rather than just striking the language. It may not be a legal license. Then I would ask some direction from Mr. Lindsay if that's appropriate.
So I would maybe look for a motion to table this until some amendments and some corrections to the resolution can be made for us to consider for approval. Would that be appropriate?
I'll move to table, Mayor.
Councilor Paulson moves to table. Is there support? Support by Councilor Beyondich. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8.2 is approve the Bridge to Independence to hang a clothesline for the homeless at the pavilion by Silver Lake. I do have some comments and questions about that. Although, we are very, very supportive of, for the homeless to be clothed properly, and the Bridge of Independence has done some yeoman's work over the years, putting this clothesline along the homeless pavilion by Silver Lake, but it's become a problem in a lot of respects. We've been receiving a significant amount of complaints from the neighbors in that area. The clothes get blown off the counter, somebody pulls them out, they're laying them on the street. They're not properly inspected on a regular basis. There's old clothing that are in there. And so I would suggest that we continue to allow some type of ability for the homeless to be access some clothing, but find a different method in which to do so. Those are my comments. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I know that the clothes that Bridge to Independence put up there are processed at their place. Any other clothes that may be there in boxes or anything, I think are just being dumped by people.
Correct.
So I think, I like it there. I think in the pavilion is a safe place. It's now paved, that someone can walk right up to it. It's controlled. They do check it, I know, every day except for the weekends. I think this is a good idea, and I think that until we come up with another solution, I think that we should allow this until we can come up with a better solution for that distribution, because in the past, it's just been between two trees that you have to climb over, the snowbanks and everything, and there was never a complaint for the last, at least that came to us since the 5 years I've been on the council, when it was strung between two trees. So us giving them permission to put it between in the pavilion, I think, is a better idea and better use of resources. So I'm supportive of this.
Okay, thank you. And then I would suggest that, with the Councilor Gerber, then I would suggest instead of hanging them on a clothesline, because clothesline breaks, and I've seen it on a number, I drive by there every single morning, that maybe there would be bins or some other method in which for them to access the clothing other than hanging it from a clothesline. But I'm supportive of making sure they have access to some type of winter wear. Councilor Gerber.
Yes, Mayor, I put this request in through Pam. My daughter is now one of the head instructors at the Northland Learning Center. And the kids want to do this. They're all basically challenges, and this is giving them some ways to become independent and to help their fellow individuals in the community. They came up with the letter and stuff that's in there, not the teachers. They came up with this letter. So I'm going to be supportive of this also. They can monitor it. I can make sure of that, or we can send them a letter. They're expecting a letter back from us if they prove it, so we can put that in there. That needs to be monitored. If it's not their stuff that they put out there, take it away and bring it to Goodwill or someplace else. But that is a very valuable service for people in America, especially the homeless.
Okay, we're looking for a motion.
I'll make that motion that we approve this request with the auspices that it has to be monitored by the Northland Learning Center for their items.
You moved by Councilor Gerber. Was there support? Support. Support by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing, seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Move to item 9, committee reports. Item 9.1, committee of the whole meeting that was held on September 21st, 2021. And we'll turn this portion of our city council meeting over to our city administrator, Britt C. Bennis. Britt?
Thank you. At the September 21st City Council Committee of the Whole meeting, we had a presentation from Mike Jarek of Jarek & Associates, who discussed our lobbyist contract renewal with the city. Mr. Jarek mentioned that we did not have any bonding projects currently in the works, but actually we do. We do have one request in for our 2023 street project, and it is being considered by the House Representatives, and we are presenting to them next week, October 6th, to complete our case. After Mr. Jarek's presentation, it was moved and supported to approve the resolution with Jarek & Associates Professional Services as a lobbyist for the City of Virginia from October 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2022 at a cost of $36,000 per year.
Also move that resolution.
Moved by Councilor Gerber for adoption. Is there support?
Support.
support by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Bearable.
I'll just make one discussion, that is not an unreasonable price. We have the same identical price through the Rams organization for lobbyists. I think it was down and does stuff at the legislature, and it's a valuable tool for Rams, and I believe it's a very valuable tool for the city.
Yeah, thank you. So it has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the resolution for the school resource officer for ISD 2909 Rock Ridge Public Schools for school year 2021 through 2022.
Thank you. And I believe that Councilor Paulson and I were at the school board meeting, and I think Councilor Friedrich was there as well, where the school board did approve the contract therein for this service. So moved by Councilor Johnson. Is there support? Supported by Councilor Friedrich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
We had a request from the Virginia Drop-In Daycare for the purchase of a parcel across the street from their location. The parcel code is 90-180-4433. It's located on 8th Street South between Canaries and Green by James. It is an unbuildable lot that does contain numerous wetlands, thus making it cost prohibitive to build on. After much discussion, it was moved and supported to discuss the proposal with Virginia Drop-In Daycare and to gather more information for further discussion on the purchase or use of the property located at 8th Street South, parcel code 90-180-433.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Johnson, supported by
Support.
Councilor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the sponsorship agreement with Lakehead Constructors for naming rights in the scoreboard in the Iron Trail Toyota Arena.
Moved by Councilor Friedrich, supported by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Just quickly, this is another example of a community, a business, a partnership with this new Iron Trail Motors Event Center. It's amazing. Lakehead Constructors and all the other that we've discussed earlier, the sponsorships, very generous sponsorship and donation for this community, for this event center. So we thank Lakehead Constructors for their investment in our city. So, is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The City Council and I are trying to set tour dates for public safety centers that we are going to look at in the state. I still have not got a date set because it's been difficult to find a date that satisfies all of our staff, but we will continue to work on that in October. John Sullivan, our Community Development Planner, discussed the proposed rental code ordinance as we discussed. It was moved and supported at that meeting to place the rental code ordinance under unfinished business for future discussions, as this is going to be a very long discussion and nothing we're going to pass anytime soon. Just let the public know it's going to be a continued long discussion that we will not take lightly. Thank you. It was moved and supported to allow the use of the walking track at the Iron Trail Motors Event Center to be free of charge to the public.
I will make a motion with adding on to when there's not events or other things being held in the building.
It was been moved by Councilor Johnson. Is there support? Support by Councilor Beyondich to allow the use of the walking track during non-events. Open to the public, the walking track around the Iron Trail Motors Event Center. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. And just to note, it's not open yet. When it is, we will do a little thing so everybody knows that it's open, and maybe we'll all walk around together or something, but it's still under construction.
Thank you. Yes. So any further discussion? First Councilor Bearable and then on to Councilor Paulson. Councilor Bearable.
When we were at the committee of the whole meeting, are we just going to have it walking and not alternating with some type of money? Because people are asking left and right if that can be used for both purposes.
Yes, and we'll have a policy ready when it's open, so that
Okay.
it will be well known what we can do.
Okay, that's fine, but we're not going to exclude that, are we?
No.
Okay, thank you very
Thank you.
much.
I think we're referring to it as a walking track, but It is an exercise track.
Okay, that's even better terminology.
Thank you, Councilor Gergel. Councilor Paulson, did you have something?
On a previous item.
Well, let's vote on the motion that's on the floor regarding the walking track at the Iron Trail Memorial Event Center. It's been moved and supported to allow that. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. And let's go to the previous item that you were discussing.
It's actually not on our agenda, but our city administrator just mentioned it regarding the public safety tour. I just, after what we had gone through with the event center here, we kind of invited user groups to take those tours. And I was just wondering if we shouldn't invite any PD or friends of the public safety or any of the employees that obviously wouldn't be working on that day. But I think maybe to get their input, I don't know if that's afforded, we can afford that as a community. But
Sure.
we did do that in the past, so that would be my suggestion, and I don't need to know if I need to have that as a motion, but it would just be a suggestion to get as much good feedback as we can from the user groups that will be using that one.
Thank you. And I think it was our goal and intent to, when we nailed down the tours the tour dates were available to us, that we would open that up to end users and the general public and friends of public safety. But that would be part of that. Is that correct?
That's wonderful. Yes.
Very good.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Next item.
Thank you, I have no further items.
No further items on the committee report, so we'll move to item 10, which is the commission liaison reports. Does any member of the council have the commission liaison report to give? I do believe we should really mention about the issue with the Department of Public Utilities. Are you aware of that?
I'm aware of that.
As the liaison, would you like to give us an
Yeah.
update?
I got a personal call yesterday from Greg French canceling the meeting of the Public Utilities Commission because they ascertained that they have some COVID problems there, so they're gonna close up the facility for the time being until everybody gets fully tested and then retested, so they did not have their meeting yesterday.
And then,
We only had one item on the agenda that was needed action. It was one we had already acted on, so Greg is going through and signing off on it, so. It had to do with the wastewater treatment plant.
And we did get the email from Grid with respect to your payment can be made at the outdoor box. Or if you have a question, a comment, or concern, there's still 3 employees in the office that will answer your questions and take your calls, but you won't have access to that facility.
That's correct, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Thank you. Okay, any other commission liaison reports? We'll move to 11, department head reports. Does any department head have a report they'd like to give this evening? John Sullivan. John?
I'm happy to report that the industrial prospect we had for the city of Virginia has closed on the building last week. I had a title issue that delayed it a week, but it's Oxygen Services Company. And they are here, and they bought the Firelight Galleries building on Hoover Road. And Firelight Galleries moved to the mall, and I'm working real hard. I spent most of my day-to-day with their contractors, and they're coming in on Thursday to talk to Bill Cole and I about the interior work, the demo, because not to get too far into the weeds, but if you think of Firelight Galleries, they heated that building with all the displayed fireplaces they had. Well, now that all that's left, there basically isn't a heating system. So I'm working with all their contractors to figure that stuff out, and they want to expand, and they're really excited to be here, and they have a new office manager, Rick Peterson. So I met with him today, and he's all excited. So it's going to be great. They're a great company, wonderful addition to the city, and I couldn't be happier that we got this one. And it's a little bit of a personal thing for me because one of their salesmen is a really good friend of mine. So don't believe anybody that says beer drinking is not good for you. So, leave it at that. So I'm really happy to announce that, and we got a lot of work coming up with the company, but it's great. They're really excited to be here. We'll probably end up having a grand opening when they feel good about opening their doors, but stay tuned. There's going to be more coming from that company, and there's going to be good things. The other thing I wanted to follow up on is Britt and I met with the school, and we sat down and we met with Noel Schmidt and his consulting landscape architect, Todd Holland from Kinley Horn, and we discussed the new elementary school, and we talked about the work that Brian's doing on trying to clean up that area through the Vidmar discussions with street and alley and all that stuff. So the school wants to talk to us a little bit more, and they've kind of handed it over to Todd to say, Todd, give the city a proposal, because they're going to lay out some lots and some properties and all that stuff for us to look at, that the school might allow the city to just say, we can redevelop this, because some properties they might need, some properties they might not. But we need to go through that process, and we wouldn't have got here if you guys wouldn't have said, hey, reach out to them, get that going. So we had a really good meeting with them. We were looking at the big screen maps, and it was really fun, and I'll probably talk to Brian a little bit more about that, because I know there's a convoluted deal with all those former railroad properties in there, and I know Colleen was digging into that too. So that was really encouraging, and Britt, I thought that was really a great meeting, really productive, and Kinley Horn is going to give us a proposal to say, look, we're going to call this like we haven't come up with the name of it, but some of the properties around that area, we're going to call this the school, redevelopment area, and we're looking at a variety of different potential types of housing or whatever we would want to do. We'll work together on it, and I think there's some great opportunities for us there. So I just wanted to share that, so thanks.
Well, thank you, John. Some exciting projects. I know you have some other irons in the fire as well. Look forward to hearing about those projects too. So, anybody else? Rick?
Just a reminder that the Virginia Fire Department open house is on Tuesday, October 5th from 4 to 7 p.m. at 115 4th Avenue North, which is the fire hall. They'll have food, activities for kids, rescue demonstration, fire and life safety vendors, vehicle displays. The fire cup will be there, and North Memorial helicopter will fly in and do some tours of the helicopter. So everybody, please come and join.
Yeah, and if you're attending it the last couple of years, there's some interactive activities that the kids really enjoyed, and they really go all out. The Friends of Public Safety comes in and helps out. The spouses and the girlfriends and the boyfriends and the significant others of the staff all pitch in as well. So we look forward to having that, so we encourage you all to come. Thank you, Rick. Okay, well, item 12, in our council reports. Does any councilor want to have an opportunity, would like to give a report this evening? Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week we did the impossible. We held 6 major events in 6 days. We opened this building, the Iron Trail Motors Event Center, to the future of our communities. And I just want to say a few words today about how proud I am of what has been accomplished so far on this space. And I'm really excited about what the future is going to bring to us. I want to thank the staff for their time and effort. Some of our staff were coming in at 6 a.m. and staying till 10 p.m. They were here all day, every day. I was here on Monday while we were tucking things away to get the building open. The thought crossed my mind, if we had had 2 more weeks, we'd still be doing the exact same thing. I mean, it just doesn't matter how much time you have up. Those last few days are crazy. And people were here all weekend, unwrapping chairs and washing dishes. And so all of the staff and the volunteers and everybody who helped make last week happen, I just want to say thank you. One of the things I learned last week, that there's no way for us to know what we didn't know. We've never opened a building like this. We've never opened a room like this room. So getting that done was amazing. It was a week of learning, not only for us, but for our vendors. There were a few hiccups here and there. Monday, we were supposed to have this beautiful ribbon cutting outside, and Mother Nature decided that we needed to cram into the lobby because it was raining all day. So it's those kinds of things that the staff planned for, so we weren't scrambling on Monday night or Monday afternoon to get everything done. There's 2 points that really hit home for me over the last week. One of them was on Friday night during the concert. I had the opportunity to be here and walk around. And during one of the songs of the first band, Starship, I was up on the fitness track and watching, and it was just amazing to me to see hundreds of people standing and dancing and singing and being present together. The lead singer of Starship mentioned how music brings people together, and I witnessed that on Friday night, and it was very overwhelming. And the other thing that really struck me personally is on Sunday we were here helping out a little bit, and my 7-year-old daughter was in the U.S. Steel lobby, and she was standing in front of the pictures of the hockey players and the figure skaters, and she was just staring at them. And I think she stood there for about 5 minutes, just in awe. And I could see her little brain planning and wondering and imagining, and I thought, that's exactly why we did this as a community, for our future, for people like her to be able to say, I can do that. I can be a hockey player. I can be going to the Olympics. So I just really, those are the two things that really struck me in the last week. And I'm excited about this building, and it was built for her generation and her grandchildren, that we have built something for our whole region to be proud of. And I just, again, want to thank everybody who will make that happen and congratulate this council on working together to promote such an amazing building. Thank you all.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. I'd just like to add on to the fact that if it wasn't for this community, this place wouldn't be built. We wouldn't be sitting here today having our first council meeting in room number 4 of the Iron Trail Motors Event Center. And so we thank the community for supporting us. Thank the community for making sure that they support us as we went to the legislature to try to get $12 million. Thank you to the community who supported the 1% sales tax moving forward, because I know it's a burden in some respects, but it was necessary for us to make this possible. And this is a community. This is the building that the community built. It's a community project, and the community should take pride in how this came out. So we thank you all for all your support moving forward. And we hope this is going to be a successful venue and for the growth and prosperity of this community for decades to come. So thank you, everybody, for all your hard work, staff, the community. This is very exciting as we move forward to the next project that we have coming forward. So thank you, everybody, for that. Does any councilor have anything else, any comments you'd like to make, any questions before we adjourn? Councilor Barab.
The same day that the fire department is having their open house, there's a public meeting from MINDOT at the center off of 135. I plan to attend since I'm chairman of Street and Alley, because there's going to be some valuable information that'll come out of that public hearing. I want to hear what the public has. It starts at 5:30, so I'll probably miss the open house at the fire department. I plan on attending that venue. It's scheduled for an hour and a half, but I'm guessing it'll last longer than that.
Thank you for going to that, Councilor Barab. I did get reminded by the department, the district engineering department of the DOT today about that very issue. And if there's 3 intersections that are affected by this, and Borgano is one of them within the state limits of Virginia. So going to that meeting, coming back with information for us will be very helpful. So thank you for going to that, Councilor Barab.
And we need to coordinate that if they decide to do something with the Border Road entrances. We're going to be doing that in our plan here, not in the next year, but 2 years down the road when high school is open. With redoing that road, we're not going to do it. We move that particular road back for repair, rebuild until the school is done with all the construction, because they're using that in the back end coming in.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anything else from the council? Hearing and seeing none, we will adjourn this council meeting to our next council meeting, which will be held back at the City Council Chambers at the City Hall on Tuesday, October 12th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. Have a safe and quiet week. And thank you to the staff, particularly, and everybody who worked this event for this last week. It was a grueling process, but it was a very successful week. So thank you all. We stand adjourned.
Mr. Jim.
I just want to keep clapping every time someone says positive things. I'm ready.
Do you have to change your Wi-Fi?
So this happened in